start by sharing my weekend. I was just in Riga, in Latvia, um, which was very nice. It was kind of like my Chintamani suggesting about Janmashtami. Okay. So I was just in Riga for the weekend, and it was kind of like the first kind of like normal travel that I've had since this whole, crazy lockdown thing started. So it was quite reassuring, feel some normality, to feel that, feel that sense of freedom to be able to visit our communities as we usually are. And it was very, very sweet visit. We had a program at there. They have a Veda Life Center. We had a nice program there. And then yesterday we went for Harinam and also had a home program at one of the devotees' homes there. And that was very nice. Very, very sweet, and lots of when you're visiting a place over some time, then you start to build relationships, and so it's so fulfilling. That was my main takeaway, how the lifestyle that we live, it can be a little austere, it can be very kind of like unstable, let's say. And then there's all the challenges that you face when you're part of an organization, so it can be very, very difficult sometimes. But I was reflecting as I was, I think last night after the final program, just how satisfying it is to feel that you can develop meaningful relationships with devotees and be able to help. It's such a privilege to be able to support devotees in their development, and it's really like being part of a family, and you have children, you have cousins, you have uncles, you have aunts, and there's this supportive, there's this mood of support, and trying, and it's a privilege. It's a privilege of being a member of a family, to be able to be trusted, where people are coming and telling you their challenges and trusting you, and it's such a privilege. And then to be able to try to help them in some way, and then to see some fruit from that, it is so fulfilling, it is so satisfying, and it makes everything else worth it. Not having a like anything to your name, and having to face different troubles. It doesn't matter anymore. That to be able to have that heart connection, and support others in their growth in Krishna consciousness. So there's some, you get some commission from that. Gurudev, he mentioned that once, that if you're able to help someone else in their Krishna consciousness, then you also get some commission, just like if there's some business deal, and you sell something to someone, you're part of like a major company, and you're able to sell something to someone, you get some commission for that. So also when we're able to help somebody in their Krishna consciousness, then we also get something from that. We get some grace from our gurus. And this is actually, something Srila Sridhar Maharaj discusses, that it's necessary to keep the flow moving, that, if we want to invite more grace from above, then we have to distribute what we have. There has to be like a living current, otherwise things start to stagnate. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he gave the example of a stream, that he pointed out the freshest, the cleanest, the purest water. It's always the moving water. The stagnant water becomes diseased. All kinds of germs and viruses, they can easily multiply there. But the moving current, the fresh current, that's the clean water, that's the pure water that you can drink. So also in Krishna consciousness, the more that we're able to, as we're receiving something, if we're passing that on, then we're inviting this flow. So Goswami Maharaj, he phrases it very nicely. Sometimes he'll express it like this, that anything that is extended to us in Krishna consciousness is done so with the tacit agreement that we will extend that to others. It's an understanding behind whatever is given to us. Whatever is given to us is not only for us. It is for everyone. So we have that responsibility. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, she actually says in one place that it is a type of offense, that if there's a current that wants to flow through you, that if the Lord, if our gurus, they want to give something through us, and if we resist that, then that's a type of offense. We're blocking a flow. So it's of course it doesn't mean that everybody has to be running out to their city squares and shouting out in loudspeakers, everyone surrender to Krishna, you have to do it, and it doesn't mean everybody has to be like a frontline preacher. We have to understand what our capacity is, and according to what we've received, and according to what we've been able to understand, and according to our capacity, to that degree, we can try to extend something. So even if it just means, we're wearing kunti mala, we're sharing something with our neighbor, we're sharing something with classmates or co-workers on a small scale, we're sometimes wearing devotional dress, like that's already preaching, So, according to our capacity, what we have received, we will try to give that to others. And the more that we do that, the more we will receive, fresh. And there's nothing, fresh downloads. And there's no deficiency there. It's not like in material transactions, there's a limited supply, that, you've got 100 of something, and if you give away 5, then you're minus 5. That's how it is in material transactions. But it's not like that with Krishna consciousness. It's an infinite supply, and the more that you give, the more will come. It is infinite. It is all infinite. So we don't have to calculate or worry in that way. It is an infinite ocean. Mahaprabhu, he, Sarvabhauma, he gave, was it 9 explanations of the Atmarama verse, something like that, and then he asked Mahaprabhu, oh, you please, give some explanation. Then Mahaprabhu gives 16 additional explanations, and Sarvabhauma is astonished at that. He understands from that this is not a human being, before me. And then later, with Sanatan Goswami, Sanatan asks, oh, I heard that you gave this explanation, these wonderful explanations to Sarvabhauma about this Atmarama verse. I would really like to hear those. And Mahaprabhu says, oh, I don't know what I said. No, I'm just a madman, I don't know what I said, but if I think Krishna wants to bless you, so maybe Krishna will give me some inspiration because of what he wants to give you. And then Mahaprabhu went on to give 60 explanations. And then Sanatan Goswami is completely astonished, and he's glorifying Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu is telling him, no, actually, this is nothing to do with me. I'm just in the middle here. Krishna wants to grace you, and it's coming through me. And then he says, oh, by the influence of your association, another explanation is coming to me, and then he gave an additional explanation. So it is all infinite. In this world we're quarreling. This is actually a part of what envy is about. That we think there's not enough. We think there's not enough. We're afraid there's not enough money. There's not enough room for others to be more beautiful, more intelligent, more wealthy than I am. There's a limited number of spaces. There's not enough room for everyone to be wonderful, for everyone to be beautiful in their own way, for everyone to be wealthy. There's not enough space. There's a limited supply. There's a limited supply of ecstasy, of wonder, of fulfillment. This is like a hang up that we have in this world. There's not enough to go around, and so we're envious. There's this squabble, this maybe just internally, there's this squabble that goes on. We have to, get more for ourselves. We have to establish ourselves because others are threatening us. Others are threatening our superiority. We're living in a world of finite, and we're conceiving of everything in a finite way. But we are approaching the infinite. There's one place where Srila Sridhar says we should learn to hate finite. This very limited and finite way of seeing things. We should learn to hate. We should hate it. This is one meaning of Vaikuntha. No limitation, no measurement, no limitation. That's the plane that we are approaching. So we're trying to enter this more spacious plane. There's there was that occasion when Saraswati Thakur, there was this something like a political leader in India. He was very Madan Mohan Molavia, I think his name was. He was very impressed with Srila Saraswati Thakur's movement and his mission, and he made a comment to him, oh, there should be a center of your divine grace in every town and village. Oh no, sorry, I'm mixing it up. That was one. There were two comments we heard Srila Sridhar Maharaj told about this man. Well, I'll finish that one because I started it. That he and Saraswati Thakur said, "What? This is not our idea. We want a temple in every heart." But what I was meaning to say was another occasion when Saraswati Thakur announced that he wanted to publish a daily magazine. I believe he had a monthly magazine and then also a weekly one. The Gaudiya, I don't remember. Maybe someone here remembers it. But anyhow, he had some regular publications, several. I don't think it was only one. He had some regular publications. And then he announced that he wanted to make a daily one, the Nadiya Prakash, and I think he did it. And so I believe it was this Madan Mohan Molavia who he was very surprised, and he commented when he heard of this, and he said, how much is there to say? How are you gonna be able to say something, publish something new every day? Like in this world, we identify so much with the objective world. So there are all of these events that are happening. So it's actually really interesting because it's all the same thing. We look at the news and for something fresh, but this happened. It's all just different permutations of the same thing, right? It's not actually nothing new. It's all different expressions of misconception. basically. Srila, so Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he made that comment. What is the news? We are all rushing into the jaws of death. this was Yudhisthira Maharaj's expression, right? When he met with Yamaraj, and Yamaraj asked him those questions, and one of them was, what is the news? And Yudhisthira Maharaj, he said that all the jivas, they are being fried. They're like fish being fried in this pot of illusion, being stirred by the ladles of time, burned by the heat of the sun, and so on and so forth. So in other words, we're all moving towards death. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he makes that wonderful commentary, that our real need, this is what the newspapers should be focused on. How can we solve that problem? How much progress has been made in that department? So Asato Masad, he quoted this famous expression from the Upanishads, Asato Masad Gamayo, Tamaso Majyotir Gamaya, Mrityam Amritam Gamaya, that I am, my very mortality, my very existence is at stake. I am a mortal being. My very existence is at stake. My existence is completely temporary. I'm living in ignorance. I'm living in the environment of death, mortality, temporality. I'm living in ignorance and darkness. So take me from death to immortality. Take me from mortality to immortality. Take me from ignorance to true knowledge, from darkness to true light. And finally, the main thing, that my very happiness is at stake. That is threatened. Take me from misery to joy to happiness. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, this is what the scientists should be researching. These are the three, this is the starting point. This is what we should be focused. This is the only news. This is the only research, relevant research. So yeah, it's just an interesting point. It just occurred to me, that we look at the news every day and we're seeing, oh, this happened and that happened, but it's all, if we look at everything in terms of consciousness, as expressions of consciousness, it's all just different permutations of the same thing. It's nothing new, really. So anyhow, that was the answer that Yudhisthira Maharaj gave when he was asked by Yamaraj, what is the news? That we're all moving towards death. So anyhow, Saraswati Thakur was asked, how is it possible that you can say so much, that every day you're going to have something new to say about divinity, about Krishna consciousness? How is it possible? How much can we say? And Saraswati Thakur, he responded, that, I've heard in America, not only are there daily newspapers, but there are hourly newspapers. There are newspapers published morning, noon, and evening. So in this world, in this very limited world, they have so much to say. And he said, I'm coming with the news of Vaikuntha. Now, Vaikuntha means unlimited. I'm coming with the news of the unlimited Vaikuntha. That news can flood this world. It's an unlimited flow, unlimited currents, unlimited news is flowing, is descending. If we can only tap into it, this is the thing, and this is what we really need to be thinking about all the time. There's this incredible flow. There's this inconceivable, ecstatic, beautiful flow of divinity that's always flowing. It's that beautiful expression of Srila Sridhar Maharaj in Sri Guru and His Grace. We are beggars of the truth. We are beggars of the truth. We are beggars of the pure current of truth that is always flowing. This is this expression. We are beggars of the pure current of truth that is always flowing, the fresh current that is always flowing. Like, so when, when Srila Sridhar Maharaj is described as Rupanugadara, what does that mean? It means he has the capacity to fully hold that current. That current's always, not that it disappears sometimes. It's just a question of whether there's someone present who's able to fully manifest, to fully reveal it, to fully, how can we say this? Like a satellite, to reveal that to this world.
Present, fully reveal or represent. Yeah, I remember that interaction with the Goswami Maharaj and Srila Guru Maharaj.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember listening that Srila Param Guru Maharaj lecture and Goswami Maharaj asking him, what is Rupanuga Dhara? Then Guru Maharaj explained so nicely, beautifully. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So it is not that the current is not there. It is like Gurudev, he gave the example of street lights, that sometimes the wiring is going underground and sometimes there's a grand street light, and the electricity, the bulb is there and the electricity is causing illumination. So in the same way, that current of truth is flowing, but sometimes it's hidden, it's unmanifest because there's nobody there who's able to reveal it, to manifest, to I'm not getting the right word, but you understand what I'm saying, who can really display it. So sometimes it's running underground, and other times it is manifest like a bright street light that's giving illumination within the darkness. So this is the question, how can we really come in connection? How can we contact that? And this is something like, this was like, we could say, I think, you'll agree with me, I think Chinmoy will agree with me. This was like a theme of Gurudev's, like you talk about making, yes, the radio transmission, exactly. He would talk about how, modern technology is helping us to understand how transmission is possible through subtle means. And so he would give the example of a radio. If you can adjust your radio, if you can tune your radio properly, then you can receive transmissions from the Lord, from divinity. He would also say, make your heart fertile, make yourself a proper receiver. This is our prime necessity, to wire ourselves, to wire our hearts in such a way so that we can receive, these transmissions. The transmissions are flowing, it's like, we have our phones, right? And with the phones, we're tapping into to like these invisible transmissions. We can't see them, we can't touch them, we can't hear them, but supposedly they exist, right? We can't see them. But if you have a device that's been properly wired, then you can connect. We can connect with these transmissions, and we can do many things with them. Many things can be created, many things can be destroyed, through the power of these subtle transmissions. So in the same way, this divine current, the flow of truth, it's flowing in the atmosphere. It's simply that we have to adjust ourselves like a device to be able to receive that, you know. That is our necessity. This is the meaning of rishi, who we, the Sanskrit word for sage, or there's in English, there's seer, which is perfect translation of that word. Someone who can see, a seer, because the word rishi, it comes from drishi, which means to see. So the word, the idea of a rishi, of a sage, a seer, is that they are, because they're living on a more subtle platform, their consciousness is more subtle, then they are able to connect, to perceive, to see, to perceive these currents of truth, which general people, because they're living in a more gross consciousness, they're not able to perceive, but they're more subtle, so they can see those currents of truth, and then they can reveal them for the benefit of others, to the world. So this is a very, very deep meditation. Gurudev would sometimes speak of, sometimes we will hear, oh, it will take millions of lifetimes, and it's so far away, and it's so remote, and it's not really possible. Sometimes we hear this type of tone from our gurus. But other times, we'll hear, and also in the scriptures, we'll hear like, why aren't you getting it right now? Why are you wasting your time? Tornam yateta, immediately, get on board immediately. And so Gurudev, he, like there was this one talk he gave, very, very powerful talk. I think it was published as Demolishing Pillars of Ego. And and one comment he made there is, that we should actually think in a serious way, why am I not getting this? Like he said, all of the scriptures are not lying to us. All of the sages, they're not lying to us. They've described this possibility. And they're not lying. They're not trying to cheat us, but they're describing something real. So why am I not getting it? And he said, we should seriously ask ourselves, analyze ourselves. Where am I going wrong? Not like, it's not that we should always feel this is some very far away and impossible thing, but we can have this, right now. And what is it that we're doing wrong? Why aren't we getting it right now? Why are we not? He mentioned like all the ecstatic symptoms. Why are we not getting the ecstatic symptoms? In an authentic way, not in an imitationist way, but in an authentic way. Why are we not experiencing divine love? Like, why? And then he quoted this famous verse. How does it go? The Suvasini knows this verse. Ahankar nivritanam keshavo nahi durga ahankar yutanam hi madhye parvat rasaya. That for one who has the ahankar, for one who has the false conception of life, it is like madhye parvata rasaya. It is like there is this great mountain range between them and the Lord. But for one who is free from that ahankar, then Lord Keshavo Nahi Durga, he's not far away, he's very close. And Gurudev mentions Krishna, he's right here, he's in our hearts. There's not 1 inch of space. He's right here. It is like if you have a neighbor with you have a joint housing and you share a wall with a neighbor, but you don't know each other, like you don't talk, they're right there on the other side of the wall, but you don't know each other, you don't speak, you don't have any relationship. You're right next to each other, you're very close to each other, but there's no relationship. So it is something to meditate on, and not in a despairing way, and not in a pessimistic way, but simply in the mood of a sincere student. How can I how can I move towards this? You know, what is it within me that is blocking? And sometimes it will be, sometimes it will be obvious. Oh, this I definitely need to stop doing, or this I need to start doing. Sometimes it may be very obvious. Sometimes it may be, you know, there will be things that are very clear that, oh, I know this is wrong. I know if I can stop this, it'll help me. Or I know if I start doing this, it will help me. You know, sometimes it's very clear. And other times we may feel like we're doing everything right. and I don't know. And you know, we you know, prayer is always there for us. Prayer to have the vision. You know, this is grace. You know, and this is why we shouldn't be discouraged at seeing our own shortcomings, because if we're able to see them, it's actually a symptom of grace. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Nitanjena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. You know, we are blind, we cannot see, and the grace of Guru, you know, he's coming with his scalpel and removing the cataracts from our eyes and giving us true vision. You know, so in the light of that vision, that clarity, you know, we can perceive, you know, where we need to go next. How can we improve? And, you know, it is difficult because the challenges in the beginning, they may be more gross, but then as time goes by, they will become more subtle. You know, in the beginning, we may struggle with something basic, like, you know, giving up intoxication or something like that. We may struggle to give up some gross habits. But then later, and those are things that are, in a sense, they're easier because they're more obvious. But then as we progress, the challenges will become much more subtle. And then it's actually more difficult. Like Srila Sridhar, she's mentioned pratishta, you know, the desire for position, for fame, recognition. This is the most difficult challenge, actually. You know, he mentioned of this kanak, kamini, and pratishta, the desire for wealth, the desire for you know, the opposite sex. You know, these are much easier to give up compared to pratishta, the desire for fame. This is a very subtle and very insidious enemy within us. So we will have, as we progress, we will have to deal with all of these more subtle things. But sincerity, Srila Sridhar Maharaj would emphasize that. Nahi kalyana krit kaschid dorgatim katagachati. That if one truly desires to do good, you know, they cannot be defeated. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj paraphrased that famously as sincerity is invincible. If we are sincere, you know, nothing can deceive us. If we are sincere, if we truly want the truth, the real path, we truly want an authentic practicing life, you know, then we will find our way eventually. We may stumble along the way, but we'll get there. We'll get on the right path. Just to be on the right path, actually. You know, we don't need to get to the goal. You know, we don't need to think about that too much, about getting somewhere or achieving something. That's not what it's about. But it's about just being on the right path. That's already a lot. You know, that's a major thing. To be on the path of the highest truth, you know, to be genuinely on the path, whether you're at level 1 or level 2 or level 3, in one sense, it's not very important. Because wherever you are, if you are authentically there, then it is inevitable that you'll move along and go forward. So this is what is necessary, that we will have some clarity about where we are. There's one very powerful expression of Gurudev. We published it on the Jayashi website, and it's in the talk he gave. He said, it is necessary for us to be conscious about from where we have come, where we are, and where we are going. It's necessary to be conscious. Where we have come from, where we were, where we are, and where we are going. We must be conscious of that. Because our problem is we become unconscious, and our motives change, For anyone who's been practicing for a number of years, we see within ourselves or within others, we see how easy it is to forget, and I'm sure we've all seen persons who started out with this overwhelming enthusiasm, I mean, for myself also, I feel like I haven't yet recovered the enthusiasm I had when I first, became excited about Krishna consciousness. I haven't recovered it yet myself. So we think about what was troubling us back in terms of our devotional lives, like what were our challenges, and what was our focus, and what was troubling us then, and what may be troubling us now. How much are we really focused on the real thing, and how much is it becoming more superficial, more societal? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting a message. The audio is, it's difficult. We're in the mountains here. Is it really bad, or you're getting most of it?
No, it's not bad. It's good. We can understand you clearly, so it's no problem.
Okay, Vishakha Didi.
As long as none of us talk, then I can turn it up and hear you clearly. It's a little crackling, but if someone talks, then like me right now, I'm probably blasting out everyone by talking. But it's the lower volume, but that's okay.
Okay. Oh,
you could yell at us if you want.
Okay. So this is something that we go through. We lose that, or at least for myself, we lose that like razor sharp focus, that we may have had when we started out. So to give pause for reflection, it is very valuable to take that time, to think, where was I on day, what was my consciousness, what was my focus, what was my inspiration on day one, like to be excited, to wash a pot. Like, how exciting is that actually? Everything, there's one beautiful quote of Gurudev where he says, if we are really appreciating what is the value of what's being given to us by our gurus, then in every word and every phrase that we hear, we will feel my very existence is here. If we think of all the things that we read, and all the songs that we sing, and whatever services we do, like in every millisecond there's so much conscious, ecstatic substance, if we could just connect with it. And if we're singing, we won't even be able to sing. Like, if we're really thinking about what we're singing and how extraordinarily beautiful it is, we'll just we'll faint. If we're really appreciating it, we'll faint. You read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a lot of fainting that goes on. Because everyone's tuned in to that ecstasy all the time. You know, you embrace another Vaishnav. It's not like, oh, hey, great to see you. How you doing? It's like you embrace a Vaishnav and you faint in ecstasy. You know, you go to chant and you faint in ecstasy. You know, you go to take prasadam and you faint in ecstasy. Like at every point, there's so much ecstatic nectar. There's this beautiful talk of Shuddha Shava Prabhu that we were listening to recently, and he was really appreciating this verse, and the last verse in this song, Udilo Aduna, you know, Jiveda Kalyana Sadhana Kam Jagate Asya Madhuna Nam Avidya Timira Tapana Rupe Hrid Gagane Viraja. In this song, I mean, this verse in particular, he was highlighting this verse, is so beautiful. You know, it's saying, you know, that the name has his own desire. The name is Krishna himself. And the name, out of this intent, you know, the word calm is used, which means lust or greed or intense desire. That the name, the holy name, out of his own intense desire, has come to this world, Jivera Kalyana, to do good for all, to benefit all, for the upliftment of all. Then the name, out of his own intense desire, has descended into this world for the upliftment of all. And then Avidya Timina Tapana Rupa, that this name is like a rising sun in the sky of our heart, you know, dispelling darkness and all this blinding darkness of ignorance. It is the name is dispelling that, you know, rising like the sun in the sky of our hearts. It's like, my goodness, you could just sit all day and meditate on the beauty of this expression. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I'm thinking, you know, like, you know, I'm singing that every morning, and it's just, you know, you're singing it, you're not even thinking about it, and your mind is wandering here and there, or you're thinking about the tune, or you're irritated because others are getting the tune wrong, or someone's playing the cartel. You know, you're getting distracted by all these superficial things. But there's so much, and not only that, but this is coming from the heart of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, like, just too much, you know? Like, it's not just like nice poetry, it's not just beautiful poetry, but this is like the heart expression of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you know, one of the greatest, you know, saints who's ever walked the surface of the earth. This is something that he has seen in his devotional eye, he's felt in his devotional heart, and then he's sharing that to us, you know. Like, so just like, that's another level of appreciation, like to feel this connection with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you know, because the songs are wonderful, but they're also, you know, they're coming from particular persons, and when we're singing their songs, you know, we're establishing a relationship with the author of that song, you know, just like in this world, right? People get all excited about different singers, and they're identifying with these singers. You know, they like the songs, but there's also the singers. So it's like this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's heart expression. We're actually connecting, you know, just because he's not physically present in front of us, it doesn't mean that he's not present in the conscious plane and that we can't connect with him here and now. So, you know, at every point, you know, there's so much substance, you know, from the moment that we wake up, you know, from the moment that we wake up into the moment that we, you know, put our heads on the pillow to go to sleep. Like, if we could be conscious, there's so much ecstasy at every point. You know? And, you know, that was what was so wonderful, so wonderfully amazing about being in the company of our Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, because we could see that he was living that, you know, that he was living in that consciousness. You know? and this is why when we came in connection with Gurudev, even a moment with him was so significant, because it was a conscious moment, conscious and ecstatic. We're generally living in like on the surface, we're living in this plane of our mind and our intellect and our senses. This is all on the cover. These are all covers. The mind, the body, the senses, the intellect, these are all covers to the real thing. So what we felt and saw with Gurudev is he was living in the plane of soul, and everything was taking place in the plane of heart in the deepest sense. So every moment with him was so profound and so significant. He could just look at you in a particular way, and there was so much weight to that. He could say one word, one little half smile, or one little glance, or one little gesture, or just to be there in front of him. It was astonishing, how powerful that was, because he's living in that conscious plane, and every moment is conscious for him in the highest sense. There was this one occasion, it was in Italy actually, and we published it. It's on I think it's on Prema Dharma. It's called Morning Wake Up, and I think some of you have seen that. And he shared it, Gurudev, like I never heard Gurudev talk about this before, but on this one occasion, this was in 1999 at the Narni Castle. They rented this place for Gurudev to stay, and many devotees came from the world. But he was in this very like sweet, kind of intimate mood, and he kind of gave us a glimpse of his inner world. And one comment he made, and I don't think I included it in the article, but he actually like revealed that he said, he said something like, my spiritual life is going very nicely. He said it like that. Like, I don't remember the exact words, but that was the expression. Like, my spiritual life is going very nicely. I'm a little shy to say, but it's going very nicely. Like, and it was so beautiful. It was so charming. It was it was like he presented himself like this like little boy. Sometimes Gurudev had this very boyish mood about him. Like he was really like feeling like he's just an ordinary practitioner, and he's happy with his progress. It's like, my goodness. But it made me realize like how fresh it was. It's not like he's like, now I'm a Paramahamsa, or now I'm a great Vaishnava, now I reached a particular stage. And I'm not even saying like I'm not saying that there's something wrong with like that's okay actually, like for someone to realize I am a great, like just in a neutral sense, they sometimes do feel that, but it was, I mean, I'm not articulating this very well, my appreciation, but it was just the freshness of it, like even if you are on that really high level, even if you do have consciousness that you're an exalted soul, it's not like, oh, now it's like you've attained something, the end. It's still something very living and fresh, like we hear Krishna's bewildered sometimes, in his loving exchanges with his devotees, he's bewildered. He doesn't know. Mahaprabhu's seeking something. It's not, it's always this is what makes it so alive and so supreme, because he's still discovering like new depths of the highest realm of divine love, So Gurudev like spoke in this such a with this freshness, like yes, I'm also practicing, and I'm happy about how I'm coming along, like that. And then he shared. Actually, then somebody asked him a question. I think it was Pranashish Prabhu. Something about how we can stay focused in the Western material environment or something like that. And then Gurudev shared, he was just in such a sweet, intimate mood. And then he shared his own personal meditation when he wakes up every morning, you know, how in his room he had, you can find it. It's on the Prema Dharma and also Gaudiya Darshan website, morning wake up. And he shared, you know, how, you know, he met, there's a picture of the deities, picture of Guru Maharaj, and also he mentioned Hanuman, how Hanuman is important protector, and you know, his I cannot represent it properly, you know. Maybe I can find it. I should be able to find it quickly enough. But it was no, like it's just so extraordinary. He's sharing, he's giving this was the point, right? Like he's giving us a glimpse of that inner world that he's living in. Like at every point, at every moment, is conscious. Okay, I'm gonna find this. GaudiyaDarshan.com. Every moment is full, ecstatic, and conscious. Oh, here it is. It was actually the very last post on Gaudiya Darshan. Here it is. I'll read this maybe. I have a small altar. So this was, I think, as I recall, the context was Gurudev was giving advice on like how we can stay focused, and so like as soon as you wake up, it's such an important time. Like you're setting your mood for the day, and so he gave this. I believe that was the context. I think it was Pranashish Prabhu in Ireland to ask the question. And then Gurudev, he shared this, like he gave us some glimpse of his inner world, in his you know, guidance. So I'll read this. I have a small altar in Calcutta where I keep some remembrance of Srila Guru Maharaj, remembrance of Srila Prabhupada, remembrance of Giriraj, and so on, with photos. Every day I offer some incense to them. And every morning when I wake up alone, I first look at their faces and pray to them with some mantra. Wow. So particular, see, he didn't tell us everything actually. He's giving us like something, but he's saying he has a particular mantra with which he prays to each of these persons. To Guru Maharaj I pray, Om Jnana Tminandasya. Then I pay Dandavat to my spiritual relatives and brothers. Then I pay Dandavat to Nrsingadev, then Giriraj, then to our Mat deities, and so on. Hanumanji is also there. Hanumanji is the best protector from all the nonsense things. He himself is a brahmachari. He is a super devotee of Lord Ramachandra and is always merciful to the devotees of Krishna. Here, I don't have that altar, but when I meditate, then everything comes very clearly in front of me. Wow, I didn't remember this. So like this altar's in Calcutta, and this is in Italy. So he can't carry around, you know, his altar is not practical. This is like, you know, something that beginners need very much. You know, we need like that physical manifestation. This is one reason why the Lord appears mercifully in the form of the deity, because we're very dependent on that physical manifestation. But for someone like Gurudev, he doesn't need that. So he's just consciously connecting with them wherever he is. Wow. Here I don't have that altar. But when I meditate, then everything comes very clearly in front of me. Anywhere that I am staying, everything comes very clearly in front of me. And I am paying Dandavat to them, standing in Calcutta or Navadvip. especially Calcutta, where I have that altar. When I am paying Dandavat, I see everyone present there in the same position. If we can follow this process every day, wherever we are, then we will receive some inspiration and good feelings, which we can keep in our hearts and live with our whole day. I am telling you my feelings. Try to remember this. Remember the association of the Vaishnavas. Remember Guru Maharaj, and remember all his paraphernalia. Try to remember this. Remember the association of the Vaishnavas. Remember Guru Maharaj, and remember all his paraphernalia. If you can practice starting your day like this for a few days, then it will come naturally to you all. And I think that you will feel so much better. It is true we are going to our daily jobs. But before that, if we will try to meditate on our situation with love and affection, if we will try to meditate on our Gurudev and Krishna and everyone, then we will get so much strength and light from them, and they will save us. If our day will start with this, they will live within our remembrance for the whole day. We may do anything, anywhere for our maintenance or for any duty, but we will always keep in our remembrance our protector and our master. Then the days will be easier for us. When we are chanting at that time, our only prayer to Shri Shri Radha Krishna is, please reveal yourselves in my heart, and they will reveal themselves. Their pastimes are very sweet. You know, like the way Gurudev is saying this, it's like he's actually revealing his own experience, like the way that he's saying it, you know, they pray to them to reveal themselves, and they will reveal themselves. Their pastimes are very sweet. Like he's speaking like he has this intimate acquaintance with them, which of course he does. It is depending upon the person, no doubt. It is all depending upon the person, and quality and qualification will come through our mood of surrender. However much we will be surrendered, that type of return will come to our mind. Wow, this is so wonderful. Wow, this is amazing. Just amazing, and on so many levels. I mean, like this guidance that he's giving is so valuable. Just what I need to hear right now. And also the intimate way that he's, you know, it's not like he's like just telling us to do something. He's sharing his own world. Like, this is my meditation. This is what I do. This is how I live. And of course, this is natural for him. And to get that glimpse, like, into that inner world of his, wow. My goodness. My goodness. Well, that finishes me for the day. This is exactly what I needed to hear. It's been a while since I looked at this. Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful to be here with all of you. Only in association, you know, are we inspired to recall such things. So my gratitude. Does anyone want to add anything or ask anything, or should we stop there? It is also my Chintamani. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think Indra wanted to ask something.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Please.
Hi, Didi. I just wanted to add a little bit. I'm just so happy today to hear from you, and you gave me so much hope. And, you know, with the sharing that we can, you know, connect to these amazing, great souls with just, you know, singing their songs. And if we appreciate them and appreciate the words, what they gave us, then, you know, we can be with them, connect. And that's just I mean, that's just out there, you know. I thought it was like really gives hope, and also talking about all the fresh, you know, fresh. I just feel you're so fresh today. You give so much fresh kind of energy today, and hope. And I think the travel did you good, and I really thank you. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, Indra. Thank you for your for your appreciation for, you know, our guru's teachings, and for your encouragement for myself. Yeah, actually, you know, for Latvia, actually Indra, she's from Latvia, you know. It was really good for me to go, because it was the first like kind of preaching visit I've made since maybe like February or something. Because, you know, we've been in lockdown mode. So it was like the first travel, and preaching is like, I'm dead without preaching. It just keeps me alive, you know. It is the most purifying. I need to do it, you know, to keep myself alive in Krishna consciousness. Not like, you know, I'm a, you know, a big star, like, you know, but, you know, I actually really need it. It is the most purifying activity. It is the most intense form of kirtan. Saraswati Thakur describes speaking about Krishna as the most intense form of kirtan. So I always experience that when I have the opportunity, especially when you kind of go on a focused preaching. It's different when you're speaking here and there, but when you have like a very concentrated preaching visit somewhere, it's like from morning to evening, you know, you're speaking with devotees and you're giving classes, and it's very purifying. It's very purifying. So I feel very blessed to have that opportunity. I'm blessed to have, you know, such good friends who are giving me the opportunity. So
Didi.
Chinmay Prabhu.
Dandavad. So I was hearing something from Jivana, Devi Dasi recently that made me think about a question I wanted to ask you, and what you read perfectly responds to that. But when she was with Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada told them, one day you will go back to watching movies. And they were like, no, what are you talking about? Never. But it's just that, like, that initial enthusiasm is there. And then, you know, Maya comes again. But how do we continue to be encouraged?
Yes.
Continue to go forward.
Yes. That's very funny. That was Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, Swami Maharaj.
Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. That's very funny.
Well, they can see the future actually, yeah. They can see the future.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it is a stage that we will go through. There's Gurudev, several times he quoted this outline of different obstacles, different stages that you know, that the practitioner will go through. And what the first one, I don't remember who it's by, but the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of our charges like that. But the first one on that list, which Gurudev has mentioned several times, is Utsahamai, which literally Utsaha means enthusiasm. So literally it means full of enthusiasm. But the idea here is a kind of false enthusiasm, you know, like an emotional enthusiasm, you know, and it will eventually peter out. Gurudev gave the example of like if you have a mountainside and there's a stream rushing down very quickly, and then as soon as it reaches the bottom, then it will go very slowly, right? Once it hits the flat ground, it will move very slowly. So in the same way, when we start out, we may be like, you know, rushing with enthusiasm to the point of being annoying. but you know, eventually that will start to peter out. And I mean, it's just a part of the process that we have to go through. That's, you know, that's the point when some people will give up and others will like really hunker down and say, no, even though I realize it's not going to be as easy as I thought, I'm still going to try. You know, that's when the real struggle begins. That's when the practice begins in earnest. Like sometimes I give the example of a child. You know, children like to dress up as ballerinas or astronauts. And then how many of them actually like go through with what's necessary to become that, you know? There are many kids who will dress up. Oh, I'm a ballerina. I'm going to be a ballerina when I'm older. I'm going to be an astronaut. You know, but when it comes to the point of like, oh, you know, how many years of study, training do I have to go through, like hard work, slaving away at paperwork and exams, and you know, how many are actually ready for that, you know? So it's like that, you know, in the beginning, we're very excited in this emotional kind of way. And then we get to realize how difficult it's going to be, you know, to deal with our own ego, to deal with the ego of others, to deal with so many challenges within and without. You know, then some people, they'll either just give up completely or they'll withdraw to a very kind of mellow level of devotional practice, you know, very like kind of laid back, passive level. And then there will be some who, you know, they have some deeper necessity in their hearts, and okay, it's going to be hard, but I'm going to do this because I know this is what I want, and I'm ready to face what I have to get it. So, and then, you know, it's just part of the process. It's actually like a more real stage of practice when you're continuing despite, when you're trying despite all of the things that we have to face inside of it, all the discouraging things we have to face from ourselves and from others. You know, that's actually, it's a more developed, you know, like, you know, I talk like that. We talk like that. Oh, I'm doing much worse than I was when I started out. But that was because when I started out, I hadn't really uncovered like all of the stuff inside. Like now the covers are starting to come off, and now I'm actually really like you know, connecting with what's there, whereas before it was more superficial. I wasn't really facing those inner impurities. I was more on the surface of things, so it was easier. So in one sense, we may feel, oh, I was doing much better then, but what it really is that we hadn't really begun yet at that point. We hadn't really seen, you know, what we have to face, and we hadn't really realized how difficult it's going to be. You know, I remember when I was in my like young fanatic phase, I used to look at some of the senior devotees with such a critical eye. like I think to myself, like, what are they actually doing? You know, like I'm like running around all day. I'm doing so much service, you know, like what are they doing all the time? You know, they don't seem to do very much. You know, you have this kind of like young arrogance. And then, but you know, as the years go by, and I realize more and more like what challenges you face in Krishna consciousness, and then I appreciate them much more than I did, you know, because I realized like just to be able to continue, you know, it's not an easy thing. The Hungarian devotees, they told me how. Here in Italy, they came. A big group of them came to meet Gurudev here in Italy, here at this Villa Govinda ashram, and you know, everyone likes to ask Gurudev for a special instruction, and you know, they want that special order from Gurudev just for them, and so we all want that, So they asked Gurudev, like, what is your desire? What is your instruction to us? And Gurudev told them, just maintain, just maintain, just continue. And they were very disappointed at the time because, they were full of this eager enthusiasm. Like, we want to save the world, Gurudev, we want to make a big temple, Giridhar is commenting. Yeah. Yeah, it was Ravindra Prabhu, Giridhar's cousin. He was like the leader of the group. He shared this, and like, we want to conquer the world. We want to take over Hungary, make everyone Krishna conscious. You have all this overwhelming enthusiasm when you're starting out. So Gurudev told them, just maintain, and they were very disappointed. But then, as the years went by, and they realized, the devotees realized how difficult it was and how many challenges they would face, like as individuals, and as a community, individually and collectively. Then they understood, just to maintain, that's not an easy thing. That's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. And because I travel, I've seen in different places like how communities have developed, and so you see how the things change, and you see the people who are really, the devotees who are really sticking through and maintaining their attachment, and you see others who started out with a lot of enthusiasm, but now they've disappeared. So you value those persons more, just that they're able to go on with deep attachment for Krishna consciousness. That's no mean feat. That's a very great thing. The Srila Maharaj comments on that in one place, that if someone's able to do that, to continue going day by day, it means that they are in possession of great wealth in Krishna consciousness. They have something very valuable in their hearts. So it is part of the process, and we have to face it. We have to face it in the right way. There was this one devotee in Calcutta, Bengali girl. She was very friendly with the Westerners. Many of you knew her, I'm sure, but she came to Gurudev once, like, speaking about all this like mental disturbance she was having and how she was struggling. And Gurudev, I appreciated his answer very much. That he didn't try and give her like a big explanation or complicated solution. He just said, yes, it will continue like this for some time. It will continue like this for some time. And I also saw Srila Maharaj, he gave a similar answer. On one occasion, somebody asked him, he told Srila Maharaj, sometimes very long periods of our lives pass by without us feeling Krishna in our lives. Like long, dark periods pass, we don't feel Krishna touching our hearts. And Srila Maharaj just very simply said, yes, patience. Patience. And then he quoted this verse from Upadeshamrita, listing the 6 favorable qualities for devotion. Utsaha. How does it? I've forgotten. Utsaha, Nishchaya Darya Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangotyaga Sangotyagat Sadoverte Shadvi Bhakti Prasidyati. Enthusiasm, conviction, confidence, determination or patience, perseverance to continue on the path, to give up bad association, to take good association, and to follow all of the recommended devotional activities. So sometimes the best we can do is just hold on. Our gurus they also speak about a purging process that will take place. And this is one reason why we have to be so careful in our dealings with our God brothers and God sisters, because we don't know where somebody's at or what's going on with their, with their devotional development. We don't know what stage they're going through. But this process of purging, we hear about sometimes, and in that process of purging, then our impurities, they may become more pronounced, more prominent for some period of time. As they're coming to the surface, as they're coming out, then they may disturb us more for some time. And in Prapana Jivanamrita, there's a very nice verse in this regard saying that the purging, I can't remember the exact phrase, but it was something like, the purging of something going through a process of purification and the emanation of and the emanation of from something that's inherently dirty. I wish I could remember better. They're two different things, I'm not articulating very well, but I think you get the idea, something impure that's coming from something inherently impure, and something impure that's coming from something that's going through a process of purification. These are two different things, And Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he gives that nice simple example, if someone's in the shower, you won't say, oh, you're dirty, what's all this dirt I'm seeing, they're in the shower, And let me just see if I can find that verse. Maybe Chinmoy Prabhu's looking for it. Oh, here it is, I found it. The supreme assurance, the purging of dirt by a process of purification, and the natural emanation of dirt from a contaminated thing can never be one. Such a devotee is swiftly purified. He is never lost. So this is something we also have to be conscious of. That, or as it's sometimes said, it gets better, it'll get worse before it gets better. That's a real thing, in devotional life as well. So it's all part of the process, and what I mean to say is it doesn't necessarily mean we're doing something wrong. It's simply that we're very complicated. We've been swimming in the mud of misconception. We've been wading in the mud of misconception for millennia. And it's a very complicated, we're all complicated cases. and so it will take time, for one thing, it won't be so straightforward. Of course, in some special cases it may be, but generally it's a long road, and there will be many different things we have to go through, and sometimes going forward, sometimes sometimes 2 steps back, sometimes 3 steps forward, sometimes 5 steps back, 10 steps forward. There's going to be a lot of this back and forth, and that's normal. But it's also, it's a struggle, but it's also a sweet struggle. It's a sweet struggle because we're striving for something that's worth it. We're striving for something very valuable. So whatever we have to face, let us face it, but we can't become pessimistic, and there will be periods when we're drowning, but we have to keep our eye, we will not live there forever. Like Gurudev, he made a very nice comment, these tendencies of lust, anger, greed, sometimes they will overwhelm us, we'll be drowning, but he says we won't stay there forever. We won't just give up. Okay, now I'm swimming in this. I'll just stay here. No, again, we will get up. You know, then we'll get knocked down again. And then again, we will get up and we'll keep going. And he also, Srila Gurudev, he also gave the example of dunking, you know, like it was a punishment that kings used to employ. You know, dunking someone underwater, they can't breathe, and then bringing them up for air, then down again, then up. So sometimes we become completely submerged by these lower tendencies. But again, we will come up, some clarity will come, again, we will try. So that was another thing Gurudev would emphasize, cheshta in Bengali, the trying attitude, the trying spirit. Well, maybe I should stop, or I won't stop. Very, very wonderful to be here with all of you.
Jai Vishakha Devi Dasi ki.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu Chinmay.
Jai.
So beautiful. Okay, well, so we have, as Chintamani mentioned, we have Janmashtami coming up. We wish everyone a very happy Janmashtami, and I'm sure there will be some online programs happening for that. We will have an online program here, at least at Villa Govinda. So we'll be celebrating together around the world, and hopefully we can meet next week. Okay.
Devi, you'll be in Italy again next Monday?
I'll be in Italy next Monday, and then the following Monday I'll actually be in London again.
Okay.
Going there for they're having their annual anniversary festival.
Oh.
But yeah, it should be fine. The timing should be fine to continue as usual. So, but yeah, next Monday, I'm pretty sure I think the flight's Tuesday. Maybe I'll double check that actually, but I'm pretty sure the flight's Tuesday. So I think next Monday should be fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Devi.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you to all of you.
Dandavad, Vishakha Devi. Dandavad to all the devotees.
Oh, is that Chaitanya Moy? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know
I
what?
finally can.
I'm on the phone, and on the phone I can't see everybody.
Oh.
So now I'm looking here. So we have Giridhari Prabhu, Chintamani, Devi Dasi, Jayadev, Diabetes tuned in from Tijuana, Dandavad. Very happy to see your bright face, and Chaitanya Moy, very excited.
Dandavad,
Thank you. Dandavad. And Ramananda Prabhu, Jayadev Prabhu. And of course, Chinmoy Prabhu, Doyamoy, Indra, and Subhasini. Well, very, very nice. This is the thing. It's on the phone. It's nice on the computer. You can. Anyway, I have to work it out here. Okay, well, have a wonderful evening and happy Janmashtami and a happy week. My Dandavat Pranams.